And we're back with another episode of Who You Got. All right, Jimmy, big weekend of sports that we get to recap. And I think there's only one place to start. And that's the World Series. In our 44 years, where do you rate this guy? Because it could be right there near the top. The only one I can think of that comes close, maybe going 7 games, is what, 86?
Yeah, I mean, what a hell of a World Series.
Oh, I got to correct myself. Sorry, the Diamondbacks over the Yankees, and probably was the best one, 2001. That's when Randy Johnson came out of the bullpen.
I vaguely remember, but yes.
Luis Gonzalez got the little looper off Mo, and Diamondbacks winning 7.
Okay, yeah.
That was a
I
good
should
one.
remember it better. I get it. I don't.
College years.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, I've been partying a lot. Yeah, no, for it to go 7 and go 11 in this game 7, Dodgers pull the 2 on the road. You called the Yamamoto thing. Let's give Greg credit what credit's due. Great job.
I mean, that was almost like a crystal ball. I said he'll spin a gem, and then maybe he comes in and closes it out. Is exactly what happened.
He literally did. Yep, you nailed it. Couldn't have nailed it any better.
The only problem for me was I couldn't bet it, so I hope some of you made money at 15-1 when we called it.
Yeah, pretty wild. So good, very good call, right on the money. And I mean, it's not that I didn't think it was possible, but I thought it was just a good hot take from you, and then it ends up coming true. My debate here is this good for baseball to have a back-to-back winner? First time since the Yankees won 3 in a row, or is this not good for baseball?
No, I think it's good, but I do think we could be getting, maybe the Dodgers are coming down the slide now, where everyone's got. You saw Mookie kind of not have the greatest playoffs. Freddie Freeman's out there, he's doing it, but you can tell he's getting older.
Mm-hmm.
The team's aging a little bit now. I mean, the rotation's still going to be solid next year. They still have Ohtani, and that was my take on this. I know it's going to be an unpopular take, but I think Ohtani's legacy takes a little hit here because he took the ball in Game 7, did not go deep into that game, wasn't a huge factor at the plate, didn't hit some big, massive home run. Other guys did it. And if you're going to be literally the Babe Ruth of our time, you either got to go out there and spin 7 innings of shutout baseball, or you need to hit a big 3-run homer in that game at some point to continue this unbelievable legacy of the greatest player of all time.
Yeah, I mean, you could say it was underwhelming from that perspective, but still pretty impressive on what he's been able to accomplish. The fact that he moved across town and now has won 2 titles back to back. And I agree with you with the Dodgers getting a little older. How many more years is Mookie under contract for? Any idea?
It's got to be at least 4.
Yeah, so that's the only thing with the Dodgers is like they've found creative ways to retool or put the payroll off for years to come. So
they got endless resources, right? I mean, the payroll's not an issue. But my point, again, is, I got he had a great series. He had a good run in the playoffs again, Ohtani, but we're not talking about a good player. We're talking about calling him the greatest of all time. The greatest of all time. The greatest of all time has to show up in Game 7. Just has to make some type of game-changing contribution.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I think it's a very fair argument because when you put it in those terms, we're not talking about is he a great player or is he the best player currently. We're talking about the GOAT. And when you talk about the GOAT, to be in that conversation, you're right. You've got to show up in the big moments. In baseball, again, I'm not the baseball expert here. That we leave that to you. But if you think about baseball, is about the great players in big moments, right? Think about all the classic moments there have been over time. Jeter's performance in play. I mean, Jeter's the opposite, right? You could call him an average player during the regular season that had the ability to show up in big moments. You've got the Babe classically calling a shot, right? There's different times in Major League Baseball. Randy Johnson coming to close out the game. Hell, Yamamoto, right? Like what he just did. So you're right. If you want to be the GOAT, baseball's a really long season that somehow comes down to big moments. I wouldn't say he was terrible, but to be called the GOAT, you're right. You got to show up.
He had a really good run in the playoffs this year. That's just my point, is what you just said. To be called the greatest of all time, Game 7 of a World Series, you're not only in the field or you're not only hitting, you're also took the ball to be the starting pitcher. One or two, you gotta make a big time contribution to the game. That's kind of my point.
Yeah, I think you're right on. I think that's fair.
All right, moving on. Today, officially, I know November 3rd. It's back. College basketball is back. We got games going on as we speak, and I just thought it would be good to maybe look at some conferences since we didn't get a lot of time to do this yet this year, kind of like we did with football in the NFL. And let's just do, in my opinion, the cream of the crop here is going to be Big 10, Big 12, SEC this year. So why don't we run through those and the odds over at DraftKings and kind of see what our thoughts are. And we'll start right there in the Big 12 with Arizona. I don't know the current score, but they are playing Florida today. I gave it out last week. I do like them. I did getting 3. Again, don't have the score in front of me. We got 3 returning starters, Jimmy, which make up 41% of their minutes that were played last year. 30-1 to win the Natty. Conference odds updated are Arizona. You can get them at 9-1. Any thoughts on Arizona? Do you think they come out, have a good year? I kind of like them a little bit here.
Yeah. I don't follow big. This is going to be our thing, right? We jumped in when we started this podcast in college basketball, or exiting the Super Bowl, really getting into college basketball. We're committed to following it closely from the start. But I'm not going to lie to you. Like the Big 12, I don't know. I mean, we watched Arizona in the tournament, 3 returning starters. I like the 9-1 to win the conference better than 30-1 to win the Natty. Like I don't think they have a chance to win it all. So I think 30-1's a little short, my opinion. I think 9-1 if you were going to take it, that's what I would do. Again, you've got 3 returning starters. That's solid.
Yep. Hey, look, they come out with a nice power rating of 91. They seem to rate them 13th in the country in the power ratings and 3rd in the conference. So they're going to have a nice chance. Across the state there, the Sun Devils.
No chance.
Rough year last year. They were 13-20 straight up. Not a great power ranking. They're at 72 out of 365 teams is where they put them at. God, I don't know how Bobby Hurley turns this around. They got no returning starters. They're long odds, let's just say, to make the conference, to win the conference or make the big dance. So probably a straight, obviously, pass on this team because I don't think they're going to be very good.
No, they got a couple of transfers that could help his case, even though they're not returning. And look, they're not returning anybody, but they weren't that good. So sometimes That's not a bad thing. I mean,
that's true.
Yeah, you're right. So I've ruined for Bobby Hurley, but I wouldn't bet on him.
Middle of the pack next, Baylor Bears. Their power rating, they get them at about 22 in the nation. They're bringing back nobody. They had a decent year last year. They were 20-15. Problem, they were not a great team to bet on. They were 14-17 against the spread with 3 pushes, and they were favored a lot. They just didn't live up to expectations last year. I'm probably going to pass on this team, and I'll just give you a little nugget. They were 1-9, Jimmy, against the spread last year in road games. So maybe don't trust this team on the road, especially with no returning starters.
It's not great. They got this kid, Scott Drew got this kid that I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not going to try. When I was reading about it, number 9 ranked player, and they got a couple of transfers as well. The transfer portal is what I think is going to make this interesting, right? Like all these teams that are reloading have a couple of proven commodities come in, and you really do improve a lot between freshman, sophomore, junior, senior seasons. You see a lot of seniors come out and have pretty good years. Yeah, I mean, Scott Drew reloaded again. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce this kid's last name because I'll just screw it up, and we don't need me doing that. I've never heard it out loud. But, that would be the chance. I think it makes the season very interesting with the transfer portal.
The next team, this is my shot here because I don't want to just give out the chalk with Houston, who we'll get to eventually, and they are by far probably the best team in the conference and possibly the land. It's BYU. BYU was a great team last year, especially from a betting standpoint. They were 22-14 against the spread. They come in ranked in second choice in the conference, returning 2 starters. I think this could be the team that gives Houston a problem.
Could be. It could be.
Not sold?
No, I mean, look, I trust your instinct on this one. The 2 starters returning played legit starting minutes too. They weren't quick yanks in the game. Right, they had a really nice year if you were playing them against the spread. So it could be. You could be onto something.
Next up, Cincinnati. Now, again, I don't think they got a great chance to win the conference here, but they could make the tourney. They're only returning one starter. They're probably going to be middle of the pack. I'd love to tell you, just like we did with the football team, hey, this could be your long shot at 50-1. I don't see it. They were a great under team last year, though, 23-12 to the under. So you could look at that angle as we start the season. Colorado, to me, is going to be a big bag of garbage, so I don't really have much to say on them. You?
No, nothing.
Here's your national championship contender. Can they get it done this year? And that is Samson and his Houston Cougars. They're returning 3 that made up 43% of their minutes. They are plus 165 at DraftKings. It just kicked up. And most places have them in that 8 to 10-1 range to win the conference. You can shop. I mean, to win the national championship, you can shop around. Another good under team here. Last 11 games, they went 8-1 to the under. You think this is the year they finally get over the hump and Houston gets this national championship they've been after?
I think it's very possible. I mean, Houston's calling card was their defense last year. It typically is, and they've got a veteran at running point. So, yeah, I mean, the problem we've talked about, this isn't any sage like thoughts here, but like it's tough to win a tournament. Like, so are they going to win? I don't know, but like they should win the conference. Like with that, right? Like how good they looked last year. 3 of the 5 starting returners. They're still going to have their defensive stud in there. They've got like I said, a veteran playing point guard.
To clarify, when we say win the conference, we're just so everyone's on the same page. We're talking regular season. We know the conference tournament, wacky things can happen. We're just talking best regular season team. So look for that bet, not to win the conference tournament. That's a different bet. That's not. We'll give you that in March. The next team, this I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen. Just anyone who follows our program is going to laugh because this is what happened last year, especially if you listen to me subbing in on some of the other shows. I'm going to get on it. I'm going to tell you, oh, Jimmy, Iowa State. This could be the team. They are for real. They are great. They're this, they're that. And then Iowa State's going to do what Iowa State does and fade. They were 25-10 last year, and I really thought they had a chance. I picked them. I think I picked them in our preview show I think I put them in the Final Four. I know I put them in the Elite Eight. I had them making a run. And every year this team finds a way to just not get it done. Power rating is fantastic. They're 91. So 14th in the nation, that puts them, and they're 4th in this conference. They got 3 starters coming back, made up more than half of their minutes. So a lot of experience on this team. 8-1 right now in most places for the conference and around 50-1 to win it all. Look, it's probably going to be a normal year here. I can see it now. Iowa State gets flipped over the 4 or 5 seed, and Iowa State goes home in the first weekend of the tournament. That's probably where I see Iowa State this year. You?
Yeah, I'm gonna take your with your gut on that. They've got that kid Milan who's got again, he's another one that getting better, 6'8". Watched him last year, can really hit the 3. These guys, if they evolve, they better. It reminds me of what's his name from our boy from Michigan that plays in Orlando now, Wagner. Like how they got better as the years went on, and at that size. So it's like, what step do we see from year to year in college? If he takes a big enough step, that's their only chance.
Here it is. Everyone's been waiting for it. You know what I'm going to say. It's time to talk about the Kansas Jayhawks. They're coming in as a top 25 team. I can't believe it, but hey, that's what's happening. They were 21-13 last year as the preseason number 1, where everyone was just penciling them into the Final Four. They were awesome, Jimmy. Awesome against the spread at 13-20. 13-20. That's what I got in front of me. They are just, here we go. It's all going to start with this kid they're bringing in, Peterson, who's supposed to be he's the next addition here. He's supposed to be the number 1 pick in next year's NBA draft. But you know what the problem for that poor kid is? He chose to go to Kansas, so I'm sure they're going to find a way to make you not be the number 1 pick. I got no faith in this team, as always. They're returning no starters. Maybe a good thing after last year, but they're returning no starters. Hard pass for me, Jimmy.
Yeah, the only thing that sucked last year is I did like Hunter Dickinson from his time in Michigan, though I didn't like the fact that he transferred out, so it didn't break my heart to see them lose. Yeah, this is what I'll say for Darren Peterson. Hopefully he's great, he becomes a great player, whatever. Rutgers had Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey, 2 top 5 picks, and guess what? Didn't work out.
Still scratching my head.
Yeah, nobody could figure it out, believe me. but it didn't work out. Dylan Harper's playing pretty well so far in his young NBA career. But that would actually be a fun segment. We'll talk about another time. The people we really watch in the tournament, what are they doing now? Because my guy, Jeremiah Fears, is the number one scorer right now in the wasteland that is New Orleans basketball.
Yep.
But yeah, so no, yeah. Should they be more competitive? Absolutely. Do I have any faith in them? Nope. We'll be fading Kansas at every turn.
And we're going to fade their rival down the road probably too. Kansas State should be about middle of the pack. They were another team, good under team last year. They're going to be the back half of that pack, in my opinion. I don't see anything. They're bringing back one starter from an average team, 75-1 to win the conference, 150-1 to win the tournament. I got nothing here for you.
Nope, nothing.
And then Oklahoma State's kind of the same. This should be back end of the conference, just really bringing back nobody. They weren't great. I'll tell you this. This is a good angle over almost 2 seasons now. When they're an underdog, they are 25-43. So they are not a very good underdog. So you can write that down as an angle. And the over 21-14 home games last 2 years. So the over at home has been good, a good angle, and bet against them when they're the dog.
Yeah, their main goal should be to not be as bad as their football counterpart this year.
Yeah, exactly. Here's one that won't be close to their football counterpart from a good standpoint, and that's TCU. TCU, another one. They're going to be middle of the pack. Maybe they squeeze in the tournament. They were 16-16 last year, straight up. Not a great team against the spread, so if you were betting them, you weren't very happy. They were 12-20 against the spread last year. Again, they're bringing back one person, but they have a little bit of an experienced bench. For me, again, not looking good for me. I'm not going to endorse them to make any type of big run.
No, I am not either. But bet the under. They were 13-4. At home, the unders were hitting.
Texas Tech, here's a contender. We got a contender. They are going to be just outside that top 15 probably to start the year. They're going to be, 4th or 5th betting choice to win this conference. Coming off a really good year. They were 28-9 last year. Against the spread, they were basically even. They were, believe it or not, a good over team. 23 to the over last year. Bringing back one starter. I like them. I don't know. I always feel like Texas Tech's going to put out a good product. And the over was 8-1 in their last 9 games I have written down here.
Huh. Yeah, I really like Darian Williams last year. He was a player we talked about during the tournament quite a bit. I think he transferred. He's still in college, isn't he? Yeah, he transferred. He's playing for NC State now. So that'll be interesting. We'll get to watch him again at the collegiate level. But I don't know. JT Toppin looked good. We'll see. I don't have as much faith in Tech as I do as in Houston.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're talking top tier, second tier, third tier. So
of course.
There. UFC, Godspeed. We're going to skip right over you. Remember when the Utes used to be good? We can skip over them too. Oh, God. It's like ending on such a bad note. Maybe this is a bubble team because I want to see West Virginia should be good. We don't understand why they're not good ever. Maybe West Virginia makes a little bit of a run here. National ranking is 61. Maybe they squeak into the tournament. They're another team, though, that the under last year was just hitting like crazy. 22-9-1 for the under for this team. What do you think?
I got nothing. Unless Bob Huggins walks back into coach them or Cincinnati, I don't think either of them have much of a chance.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Maybe they get a bubble. All right, we'll go to our conference. Well, your conference, really. My conference is next, but we'll hear what you have to say about Michigan. But let's go. Let's run through the Big Ten here. We're going to start out with the Fighting Illini, Illinois. This is another team, kind of like Iowa State. Last year, I was like, all right, remember me and you on this show a bunch. I'm like, all right, they're going to win this week, Jimmy. This team they were injured. They're coming back and just could not get out of their own way last year. They finished 22-13. Terrible, well, not terrible, 17-18 against the spread. But here we go. Their power rating is great, 92.5. Their national rank, they're going to come in the top 10. Second choice to win the conference. They're bringing back 3. I'm going to sit here again and say, all right, I think this team's got a legit chance to make a run.
Yeah, I mean, you were on them last year, and you made the good point that they were losing games, but they were really, really injured, and then they just never really got it together, right? Which is hard. It's a short season, then you go into a tournament. They're an experienced team. Something that's interesting. They had this kid, this junior. I'll attempt this one. The Andre Stojakovic averaged almost 18 points at Cal. They brought him in. They've got a sixth-year guy on their team. Like they've got a veteran team, and again, I think in college sports, especially college basketball, that goes a long way. You see less talented younger teams that don't know how to win yet get beat by veteran teams. So I like the upperclassmen. I think it might be Illinois' year.
Yeah. Next team, Indiana. Look, it's a tough place to play anytime you go there. So they're always going to be competitive. They got them ranked 41 right now in the country and 12th though in the conference. I don't know how many teams the Big 10 is going to get in. It's going to be a ton. They have an 18-team conference, so they'll get a ton of teams in. They're another team. The under was hitting like crazy at the end of the year, so keep an eye on that. It was 9-1 to finish, and it was 22-9-1 overall. I'm not going to endorse them, obviously, to win the conference or the tourney, but under could be a betting angle here. Look for them to be around a bubble team, would be my assessment here. And then I kind of feel the same about Iowa, Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean, again, Iowa's returning nobody. I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah,
I don't know that I'm.
bubble team at best.
What's that?
I think they're a bubble team at best.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
The Terps, boy, do they give us, that big fella gave us a memory in the tournament, but I don't know if that's going to repeat itself this year. They're in the top 40, so, they're going to have a chance. They put them right in the middle of the pack here. 27-9 last year. They're bringing back nobody. That's the problem. They were great. They were good as a favorite last year. I just don't see. I don't know. I don't see it this year, them running it back.
Yeah, everyone's gone. Coach is gone.
All right, I'll pass it to you. How is Michigan going to do? They're bringing back two people.
I mean, it is tough to tell. They've got the UAB power forward Yaxel Lendenborg coming in, averaged almost 20 points a game, 19.2. I like that. They've got a power forward from Illinois and another, this 7'3" kid, Ade Mara from UCLA. So they're going to have size. Like you said, they're returning a couple. I don't know. Michigan always finds a way to be there, but they always also find a way to let me down. So I'm not going to hold my breath on them this year. I mean, they've got a really solid power rating. They've been really bad against the spread the last 2 years. We lost on them on Michigan State specifically last year. So I think they're going to be solid, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
You're being nice on saying they've been not great against the spread. They've been downright terrible. 26-43.
Yeah. You've lost a lot of money if you've been on Michigan against the spread.
10th worst cover percentage in the nation last 2 years.
Pretty bad.
So, hey, look, I think they're going to be right there at the end. They'll have something to say about who wins that conference.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like we have this conversation every year. Every year, Michigan State is put just into the top 25, it feels like, or at least the last 4 or 5 years. And then they go to last year, 30-7. And they crushed 24-12 last year against the spread, this team was. So this team was just crushing it. Another great team to the under as well, by the way. I'm not, they're bringing back two people. I'm not going to bet against this coach ever.
Yeah, it's really tough to bet against Izzo, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not me. Next one, look, this team was terrible last year against the spread. They were 10-20-2 against the spread. I got no faith in Minnesota. I'm glad they're bringing back no one that might be good for them. No thank you for Minnesota.
Hard pass.
It will also be a no thank you for Nebraska for me. I don't think they're going to be very good. Maybe they're a 500 team.
You can keep the no thank yous rolling with Northwestern too.
You really can. I always want them to be good. They're all, you know what? This is what I'll say about Northwestern. You can all write this down right now. 2 or 3 times this year, they're going to be an 8 or 9 point dog against somebody really, really good in that team, and they're going to give them absolute fits and knock them off.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Ohio State. Here we go. A sport they have not been good at recently. 17-15 last year. They were right down the middle against the spread. They're just outside the top 25 this year, projected to finish 7th in the conference. bringing back 3 starters. They were not great against the spread down the stretch. They were 1-6 to end the season against the spread. I hate Ohio State, so I'm going to say they have a bad season and miss the tournament. Jimmy, your thoughts?
I hope you're right. I do like the fact they're bringing back 3 players, including a senior at point guard. Again, I just think in college basketball, there's something about teams that have played together. They don't have as much runway to figure out how to play as a unit. These guys have played together for multiple years, so if they have a chance, that's it. But they weren't that great last year, and to think that they're all going to take this big step forward, I think is a long shot. So no, I'm not going to bet on them either.
Will Ducks fly together, or will they not be flying this year?
They will be no, they will not.
Good under team in the last 10 games last year, 8-2 there. They were 25-10 last year. They'll be a tournament team. That'll be my prediction here. They'll make the tournament. They're not going to do anything big, but they'll make the tournament. Penn State, you'll be following your football team, so we don't really need to talk about you. Here's the team that is going to challenge, well, they say is going to challenge Houston and win this conference. That's the Purdue Boilermakers, coming off a 24-12 season. They are bringing back 4 starters, basically their whole team, plus 150 in a lot of spots to win this conference, and right there with Houston for odds to win the Natty. You think they're legit, or you think this is going to be one of those preseason top 10s that we said pulled the trigger a little too hard here, everyone?
No, I think they're legit. I'm going to stick by what I've been saying. They've got the Big Ten Player of the Year, Braden Smith. Him and Fletcher have played together for like over 100 games or something. Like they're
110 games together.
Is that what it is? Yeah. So they're a really experienced unit, and they were solid last year. So I think they're going to be fine. Now, again, they might have ceilinged out, so maybe they don't get it done and win the whole thing. But I think I could be an Elite 8 team. I think so.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this team will make a deep run. I think they're very, very good, very stacked. Here, I'll pass it to you. The most disappointing team in the country last year, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, 15-17. They almost broke even against the spread, but no one's really looking for much out of this team this year. They're picked almost dead last in this conference. But how do you think your state school here will come to play?
Not well. Not well. I mean, I had to hear about this from Anthony, one of our loyal listeners, in the preseason. He actually got me excited. I'm like, hey, cool. We get all the games on local. We've got, like, it's a big deal, these players. And then they said, hey, 15-17. We'll give you more losses than wins.
Yeah, no, this was a legit, people thought, hey, this could be a Final Four team, and not even a little close.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have much going on. They've got this kid from NJIT transferring in that averaged 20 points a game, but the NJIT exactly go up against the fiercest competition, and they're the other player, the returning that played opposite of Dylan Harper, averaged all of 5 points a game. So I don't know why we'd have any major hope about Rutgers. I hope they're good. Doubt it's going to be the case.
UCLA coming off a 23-11 respectable season. Decent team against the spread, 9-14-1. Cronin says this could be his best team. They're projected 10th in the country right now, 4th in this conference. I think they're going to have something to say about the Big Ten.
Yeah, returning 3, to your point. That's Cronin said that, but that's what they all say at the beginning of the year. Like, I don't put a lot of stock into that. I mean, who comes out and says, no, I think we got, especially in college when it's a win now, because everybody leaves. So, yeah, I don't put a lot of stock into that. I'm going
to give you credit there that, most coaches aren't going to come out and say, hey, we're going to be shitty this year.
Yeah. Hey, it's going to be a real tough go.
Yeah, it's going to be tough sledding, boys.
Yeah,
you're right.
So I don't know. But, yes, do I think UCLA can be pretty good? I do. Well, we'll see what happens. My boy Johnny Juzang finally got on. I don't know if you remember his great run in the tournament a few years back. He finally got on an NBA squad. I think he might be on the Utah team right now, but it might be.
Anyway. USC, borderline top 25 team to start the year, right in the middle of the pack here. Projections in this conference, 17-18 last year. A good over team, 24-11 to the over. I don't really have much of an opinion here.
I don't know anything about any of the players that are coming in. I know they're returning no one. Yeah, I don't really know anything about USC basketball right now.
Godspeed, Washington Huskies. We'll move on to the Badgers. 27-10 last year. Great against the spread, 23-14. They're always a gritty team. I never, ever really want to look past this team. They're projected in the top 20, 5th in the conference, bringing 2 back. God, I got to tell you, I got a feeling maybe Wisconsin could be the turd in the punch bowl, if you will, for the Big Ten, and they might be the ones to come out and win this conference at a big number.
Could be. I mean, they lost a lot of people. Like, I know that they're returning a couple, but they lost 6 of their top 8 starters. I think the Big Ten is going to be more. I think something's going to happen. Like I said, something from the transfer portal, something that we're not seeing right now is going to work out well. I don't know. You're right. They are always gritty. To think about the Frank Kaminsky teams of past, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not buying Wisconsin.
I am. That's what I'm going to go with here for my upset special. Wisconsin takes it down 20.
All right.
All right, let's move on to the final conference for today, the SEC, which to me, once again, is the cream of the crop. So we'll start right here with Bama. Believe it or not, they were 28-9, but I know they played in a tough conference, but I would say I would lean it was almost a disappointing season for Bama. Is that too much? Is that going too hard on them?
Well, I don't know. We watched a lot of Bama basketball. They couldn't play defense to save their life.
They could score.
But they could score. They could score in bunches, but they couldn't play defense. I start to forget everybody's name as the year passes on, but they had the squirrely kid with the mustache that was up and down the floor. Yeah, Mark Spears was really good. Yeah, I don't. But they're reloading. They've only got one kid returning.
Only kid, one coming back. But a couple players off the bench that are still there.
Yeah.
They have been great against the spread in SEC play since the 22-23 season, going 37-23. So it's a pretty good sample size. So good betting team. Their backs. This conference is just so loaded. National ranking, they're going to come in just about a top 25 team for Calipari. 23-14. They were 17-18 against the spread with a push. Bringing back 3 people. Got to win in the tournament. I got to tell you, I think he's going to have them ready to go this year. I think Arkansas will be a really good team and a tough out this year.
I do too. If you watched Arkansas basketball last year, they won games. They outplayed their talent, right? That's the way I would say it. Like as a team, they outplayed their talent. They won games that they probably shouldn't have won. And I think you can give Coach Cal credit on that, right? I watched Arkansas games and I wasn't like, wow, this guy's jumping off the screen. Great, right? So I expect them to get better. I expect their offense to improve, and again, they're returning 3. So yeah.
And the weirdest thing from the offseason, we'll talk about the Auburn Tigers, as Bruce Pearl just decided out of nowhere in September that enough's enough. That's my reason I'm passing on this team. If the head coach didn't want to stay coming off a 32-6 season, he's not returning any starters. Maybe he said, you know what, I don't really want to be here for the reload. So that's a hard pass for me on that team.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's got to be it's the tough part about being a college coach in general. The reload every year, the recruiting, the process. You're not just building on what you had with a couple of new pieces. So yeah, maybe he was just like, nah, this is too much of a rebuild.
Well, last year, no team raised our blood pressure or made us more money than the Florida Gators, and they're back for more. They're coming back, ranked 5th, projected to win this conference again, coming off a 36-4 year. They were just, like I said, cash cows against the spread, 29-11 against the spread last year. Bringing back 2 people, looking to repeat. Do they repeat? Do they win this conference? What do you think?
No, I don't think so. Just because the conference is so loaded, I think it's really tough to say that to be that definitive about it, right?
It's so hard in this conference.
Yeah, I mean, they've lost the kid that was making all the big. Again, we're drawing a blank. He's actually having a nice year in the pros right now as well. I think he went to the Magic. I could double check it. Magic of the Wizards, anyway. But yeah, it's just such a loaded conference. If they're returning 2, that's great. But I wouldn't. I mean, look, they've got a really great power ranking. Like you said, we made money on them last year. I think what started when we bet them against Auburn, if I'm not mistaken. That's where the run started.
Where it all started. They were getting 10, and they got down early. And you text me, I knew this was going to happen. And then all of a sudden, Florida won by 30.
Yep, yeah, and we were good to go. And we bet them ever since. We rode them all the way through the tournament. So
sure did.
Yep.
Georgia up next. They had a decent season. When you play in the SEC, you can't really sneeze at 20-13, I guess. But I think, again, there's just so many teams in this conference. It's going to come down to how many are they going to put in again? Do they get 12 in again? Do they get 11? Do they get 13 even? Who knows? I think Georgia's probably looking at a repeat of last year. They're probably going to be right around that bubble team.
You're probably right. I mean, the problem is they beat who they should beat. They lose to good teams. They were 4-11 against good teams last year, and they were 16-1 against bad teams. So they're they are who they are.
I had no faith in LSU. You? Mississippi. This is another tough one. They're going to be right around that bubble, I think, but a scary team. They had a good season last year.
They did.
Bringing back one, I know, but they always seem to reload. The over was good in the last half of the year for them. I'd look at the overs here as we get deeper into the season, and again, look for this team to be right around the bubble. Kind of feel the same about Mississippi State. I'll let you go.
Well, no, Ole Miss was the opposite. They were the team that we liked, but burned us on a few plays last year.
They sure did.
Yeah. So it was the opposite of Florida.
I'm going to say Mississippi State's probably a solid tournament team. They went 21-13 last year. They're only bringing back one, but they got a little experience on the bench. They've been solid the last few years, so I'm going to say we're probably looking at a tourney team there. We'll give Dan a shout out here. I think Missouri will just do what Missouri does. They're bringing back 3 people. I think they'll be a solid tournament team. They'll probably be in that, just like last year, 7.
Yeah, I mean they're bringing back their top scorer, so that always helps. But yeah, I think you're probably right on the money on that. But again, in a division or in a conference that's this tough, they could pull that off. That hats off.
The Sooners, I think, will take a step back this year. I don't think they're going to be a tournament team. I think they'll finish at the back end of the SEC. They're bringing back nobody. I don't think they did too much that impressed me in the portal. So I'm going to hard pass on the Sooners.
I concur.
The Gamecocks were just.
I was on the Sooners. I liked the Sooners last year too.
You did.
Yeah.
Not a fan, obviously. They were terrible last year. I think they're going to be terrible again this year. South Carolina, bottom of the barrel here in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's another contender. Tennessee, great power ranking, projected to finish 3rd in this conference. Top 15 team in the nation, coming off 30-6 last year, but they're only bringing back one player. I don't know. I cannot trust Rick Barnes ever in a big spot. So I'm going to say they are good, but they probably wind up being what they should be, probably a 4 seed in the tournament.
Probably right. They got top 5 recruit, Nate Ament coming in, so that might help them. And to your point, Rick Barnes is coach forever and not won anything, right? So it's kind of tough to trust them. Well, I think you're probably right. My early prediction, I bet you they get knocked down in the Sweet 16.
Yep, that's a good call. Texas, I think we're just going to see a rinse and repeat for Texas like we always do. There are going to be periods of the year where we're like, wow, this team could be really, really good and they might be dangerous. And then we're going to be like, wow, this team is really, really bad. I don't know how they're making the tournament. They'll probably sneak into the tournament, be put in one of those 8-9 games as they always are. Maybe they win a tournament game. Who knows? I don't trust this team. I never do. I'll say they're a bubble team. They probably get into the tournament, maybe in that 8-9 range.
Yeah, probably so.
And the Aggies, again, another team. I know I keep saying this, but to me, they're a bubble team at best. Vandy, though, as I move on, Vandy could be one that makes a little run here. I think Vandy's got a nice team. They're bringing back 2 people. The team pulled some big wins last year. Another team that was a good underplay last year, but I don't know. The Vandy is kind of my Wisconsin from the Big Ten. I think Vandy could be a gritty team, just like their football team.
Yeah, they're bringing back 2 of their top 3 scorers from last year. Again, they've got the 2 returning starters were productive starters. They weren't just defensive lockdown guys, even though that's important, obviously, in college. But so, yeah, Vanderbilt could be for real.
Here's who's going to be for real, and I saved them for last. Here's the pick to win this conference and to win the national champion. Your national champion right here, University of Kentucky. Mark Pope was the right choice to replace Calipari. He did a hell of a job last year in his first year, going 24-12. Got us in the tournament, got us where we needed to go, got a win. I love him coming back. We're only bringing back 1 starter. We're fine with that. Mark Pope understands how to do this. He went in the portal, reloaded. Here's your natty. Sorry, Florida. we're winning the conference. We're taking the national trophy right back to where it belongs. Home of basketball, Lexington, Kentucky.
Look, is it a homer pick? It is. And it could be right. Two things can be true.
So the Who You Got team is endorsing Kentucky Wildcats to win the national championship. Write it down, folks. Make your bet now before these odds drop.
I'll write that down.
Let's have a great college basketball season. We're now going to move on to college football, where things didn't go so well for some teams.
They didn't.
I'm going to just start with some of the news. Auburn fires Freeze. Completely deserving. I mean, the guy just couldn't figure out how to get a win, so you just can't stay there. So now Auburn's job's open, joins the rest of them. Okay, note to Miami and Clemson. It's time to join the firing party. Crystal Ball's got to go. He can't win with talent. Just get this guy out of here. And Dabo, you got to be kicking yourself for not taking the Alabama job 2 years ago. You should just replace Saban. Because it's time for you to go now, too. I will say this. I don't know if you watched it. And he got fined for it. The call that went against Clemson at the end of that game might have been the worst pass interference call in the history of football.
I didn't see it.
Go watch that clip. And then please tell me how on earth it was pass interference on the Clemson D-back. So I will give them that. But look, we got to fix the pass interference rules in college football. I mean, they just, in football in general, they constantly decide games at the end. And it's almost like the ref feels like, my God, I better throw the flag. It's close.
Yeah. If it's close, there's going to be a huge outcry on the other side of it. It's almost like they'd rather call the ticky-tack foul than to hear the other team complain about the ticky-tack foul that wasn't called. Like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. They're in a tough position.
It's got to be reviewable at this point. It's got to go to the booth. Should be able to buzz down and say, I don't care what you think you saw. This, it's got, forget challengeable. It should be someone in the booth or someone in the control center presses a button and says, wait a sec, we got to look at this closer. And you look at it and you say, you know what? That wasn't egregious. It was not pass interference.
Yeah, you're likely right. I think they need to redefine what like incidental contact is as well.
We tried to do it. If you remember a few years ago where it was in the NFL where PI was challengeable. And every time they challenged it, they just upheld the call.
Yeah, because they wanted to prove a point.
Ever.
Yeah, they wanted to prove. Yeah, even when it was obvious, they didn't overturn anything.
Here's another one. I don't know if it was on your radar, but if you didn't see what the Oklahoma kicker was wearing as a uniform, one, note to him, are you kidding? And two, go check it out.
I'm going to check it out right now.
He looked like he was playing for the 1985 Celtics.
I love it.
How he wore basically shorts that would have made Larry Bird blush. Yeah. Am I wrong with the take?
It's the first thing that comes up is Oklahoma kicker shorts.
Yeah. Just tell everyone, am I wrong, as you're looking in real time.
It's hilarious. What is he doing?
Yeah, please. One, NCAA, fine Oklahoma, never wear that again. Ever. Okay. Then, before we get into the games and just kind of quick thoughts as we go down the scoreboard like we always do, we learned a lesson last week. And I brought it up before. I just want to bring it up again because I know some of you just hung your head. And you shouldn't have. It was one of the worst beats I've ever seen. Texas should have cashed no matter what number you got it at. But this is my point. When you look at the lines today, if you like something, don't just say, I'll wait till Friday or Saturday to bet it. Lock in your number. Because the people who locked in 2.5 with Texas all won. People got 3. Well, they pushed. That was unfortunate too. But if you waited to Saturday morning, especially as it got closer to kickoff, you laid 3.5 and took one of the worst beats I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Texas won't make the college playoff, by the way. I said it on Thursday that this team will come out, make a big statement, and this will be their road back to the playoff. They proved to us they're not a playoff team. A playoff team would not have got to an onside kick.
No.
And they lost the onside kick. They're so lucky. It was raining and the ball was slick and it went out of bounds. Or Vandy probably wins that game and we're all sitting here going, can you believe that happened? All right, running down the top teams. Ohio State just pounded Penn State. We saw that coming. We did think it would be funny if Penn State won. They tried to be competitive for a minute, but then Ohio State said, yeah, not today. Jimmy called it right here on this show. He said Indiana should smack Maryland, and boy, did they. They put it right on them, 55-10. We did a good job with Georgia, Florida. We kind of called this one. We got lucky in the end to hold on. Thank you, Georgia, for not being a typical college team and getting the extra score. They took a knee, so the 7.5 covered. But Florida was the right side. Florida should have won this game. They just fell apart late in that game. Ole Miss continues to impress. They no problems with South Carolina, 30-14. This will be the time that Jimmy says, "Yeah, Greg, you got us again."
Greg, you got us again.
NC State was winning this game, 5.5. They were going to win it on the field, 48-36. I told you they score points and they're at home.
Yep. Yeah, you're not wrong.
The one that got us, and this is where moneyline parlays are the devil, Jimmy. And this is what, if you're not, I got friends who are pretty good gamblers who always say, if you're not willing to give the points, take the points or don't bet it. And that's what we should have done with the Miami game, because we both said 10.5's too many, but Miami's going to win this game.
Right.
So we threw them in moneyline parlay, and it got blown up. And what we should have done is just took the 10.5 and never even worried about it all game.
No, you're right. Yeah, it's a sage advice.
Notre Dame was confused and thought Doug Flutie was playing, so they only won 25-10. I mean, they should be eliminated from the college football playoff just for that. Dead wrong here. Thought Kansas State would be competitive. Texas Tech is just that good. That's it for me. I'm not going to be scared off by a touchdown with that team anymore.
I don't blame you. We just got, Texas Tech I don't want to say they burned us, but they sort of burned us one time, and I think it made us, when they lost to Arizona State, we thought they were going to crush. But I do think they're good. I think that was just a blip in the radar.
Tennessee, that's the end of their playoff run. You can't lose that game at home. Nope. You just can't lose that game. That was a terrible job.
Yep.
Virginia continues to win. I mean, I know it's the ACC. We're going to see what happens. They're going to have something to say, because now Miami has no chance of going to the conference championship game or making the playoffs. So Virginia might have something to say about this as an upset coming in late. Louisville does what they have to do. They win. And I said it right here. I said, God, I want to bet Cincinnati, but boy, does that number say bet Utah. And Utah absolutely smashed them. And that's another one where you just got to follow the number, unfortunately. A very unimpressive win by our Michigan team, 21-16. Did you watch any of that?
No, I actually didn't get to watch the game. I was on the road the second half of Saturday, so was able to follow along on the phone at dinner, but I did not get to watch any of it.
USC squeaks by Nebraska, which, good job. You called. I think they just missed the cover, though, by a half point. I think it was 4.5, but you did
right.
Call it, get that win, but Nebraska gets the cover. And I just saved this one for last so Jimmy can apologize to all the Houston Cougar fans out there, because Jimmy said, and I quote, "There's absolutely no way Houston would lose to this team." And Jimmy, you just ruined their season.
Houston goes in. Houston 7-1. We come off a week we bet them and won. They've got the 2-6 West Virginia Mountaineers coming into town, and somehow they lose by 10. And I wasn't even that close.
It wasn't close. It wasn't a competitive game at all, and it was at home.
I was following this, and I'm like, what is happening right now?
What is going on?
Yeah, what in the world? This would have been. I would have laid my life savings on Houston money line if they would give me.
I know.
Like, I can't even say. I don't even know what to say. Like, oh, I got it wrong. No, unbelievable. This is the Browns beating the Packers a few weeks ago.
It's what it is. No one saw it coming. But again, it comes down to, hey, if you don't want to lay them, might as well take them.
I didn't even it wasn't in that. I just thought this was the one that couldn't include this, and I would have included it in every bet we made. Yeah, Houston's going to win this game.
Yeah. Early college football this week. The only thing I would tell you, tomorrow I like Ohio giving 3. Other than that, we'll hit you on our Thursday night show. We'll give you everything for Friday. There's some good games this week. Terrible scheduling job by the NCAA. BYU at Texas Tech. Texas Tech, a huge favorite, 10-point favorite. I don't know why this game's at 12 o'clock. It's annoying. Let's see what the other marquee games are. Here we go, Dan. A&M goes to Missouri. Missouri's getting a touchdown. That'll be the make or break for Missouri's season. What did they put in the night spot? They wanted LSU to be good, but they suck. LSU goes to Bama. That's normally a marquee night game, and LSU will get their dicks kicked in. We'll give you a better preview, obviously, but those are the marquee games that we have coming up to talk about on Thursday. Let's go to where they get paid, Jimmy, and talk about yesterday. But first, I had to sit here and, I took my lumps for a couple of my takes when I was wrong or when I, didn't put shopping carts back. Now you're going to take your lumps. So here's the response we got on some YouTube comments or directly to me. Jimmy, you fighting with Greg over whose fantasy team is better. Then there's just a few dots and it says, really? Greg's backups would make the playoffs in this league. Who is in this league? Was another comment. Sorry. If anyone in the league listens, I apologize. Jimmy, your team is solid, but come on. You're going to have to hear it this year until your team leaps Greg in points at least, but congratulations on having the best defense. Someone said the line of the show was when you were going off on me. By the way, everybody likes when I mess with you about your fantasy team, especially on the Thursday when you're drinking. But everyone did like when you went off on me about how I'm the greatest fantasy player in all time, and that's what I think, and I just let you go, and then I just said, Jimmy, not better, smarter.
Yeah, Greg's a good friend of mine, as you all know, but a little secret on Greg. Greg is a poor winner and a poor loser. He's just really bad at both of them. So when he's got a good thing going, he just can't let it go. And when he's got a bad thing going, there'll be an excuse. So just wait for it to drop.
Be fair. If you're going to make that take, be fair. Jimmy's not wrong when it comes to stuff like fantasy football. That's fine. But not even true when it comes to gambling or anything like that. I take losses like a champion.
No, we do. You do.
Big losses. You'll go off and I'll be like, look, that's gambling.
Yeah. You're right. No, you're right. We make the point in gambling that, of course, we're not going to pick 100% of the time because that's just not how it works. But
I can take a big 20-unit loss like a champion.
Yeah, I don't get
crying his beer.
No, you know what? When we gamble, we don't gamble beyond our means, and I think that's important. So for me, when we miss a bet, the monetary value doesn't hurt as much as me being pissed off because we got it wrong.
Yeah, it's the pride.
It's the pride. Yeah, 100%.
I say it all the time. I've been more mad at $10 plays that I lost than $1,000 plays.
Yeah, and it's never the bad beat. That's the one we can argue. Like, it was a bad beat. We were still on the right side of it. It's when Houston loses at home to West Virginia after going to Arizona State and beating a ranked team and moving into the rankings themselves.
Right.
That's what drives me nuts. Like, how did this happen?
All right, we'll end the show with running through the scores yesterday, just to get your opinions here. I mean, how do you not fire this guy, Jimmy? How did the Bengals? It was the most unbelievable loss you'll ever see.
I mean, they're finding new and impressive ways to do it.
Yeah, they score, they take the lead, and on the next play, they say, "Hey, we'll let you go for however many yards that was for a passing touchdown."
Joe Flacco throws for almost 500 yards.
Jimmy, how do you? It's unbelievable. The guy throws for 470 and 4, and they lose.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. T. Higgins, 121 yards. Jamar Chase, 111. Chase Brown, 75 yards receiving. These are overseas. It was unbelievable. Noah Fant getting in the end zone again. And they somehow say, no, Chicago. A really popular bet, and I usually don't play them anything I hear on ESPN. They were right on the money. I think the Chicago team total was 26 points. They had that in quick.
Sure did.
Yeah.
Don't blink.
My God. Yeah. So yeah, he's got to go. They have to figure something out.
Are the Lions in trouble? Is it panic time? Or are the Vikings maybe just better than we thought as usual? Is it just a really competitive league?
I don't think the Lions are in trouble. I think they're going to be okay. I think there's some growing pains. I think J.J. McCarthy looked really, really good.
Sure did.
And before this, he really only looked good for one quarter, and that was the fourth quarter of the first game, and he's been hurt the rest of his career. So you really don't know what you're going to get, but he shows those flashes of okay, he makes big-time throws, he makes good decisions. So I think he looked good. I think we've talked about the Vikings have a really good defense. That so the fact, I think if you're Detroit, you're more worried about your offense. They had that really bad fumble. Montgomery, I think, had the fumble where they were backed up. He got a 13-yard run out of the backfield on 3rd and 13, and he got the ball punched out from behind. That's kind of day the Lions had, right? That doesn't happen. I think the Lions go on to win the game. It wasn't extremely pivotal. It was early long enough that they could get back. But some games you're watching or listening to, and you're like, it's just not their day. Things are just going wrong for them. But so no, I don't think the Lions are in terrible trouble, and I don't think the Vikings are gonna make the playoffs. I think like they'll end up 9-8, probably just miss. I think they're going to have some ups and downs.
All right. So let me just correct me if I'm wrong. The Packers' losses now are Browns, Panthers, and a tie with the Cowboys. Is that where we're at?
That's where we're at.
Are the Packers overrated? And now Kraft's out for the year, right?
He is. Yeah, he's done.
Where do the Packers go now? Because they really have no target. He was the target.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Love is the conundrum here. I mean, he's got games where he looks awesome, and he's got games like this where he no touchdowns, throws an interception. The Cleveland game, he threw that terrible interception. The guy's got all the talent in the world. He just can't seem to put it together. How the Packers at home only score 13 points against the Panthers is beyond me. The Panthers aren't that bad of a team. I mean, they are 5-4. Like, they're starting to play real football. Bryce Young was back, but he didn't really do anything either. I mean, it was 16-13. Nobody really did, right? So, yeah, I think Green Bay – I don't think Green Bay has any chance of making the Super Bowl. How about that?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm with you. I think you summed it up perfectly. Chargers looked great, and then I don't know. They only won by 7, but you never. I think even when they were down 14-7, I don't think you ever felt like the Chargers weren't going to win this game somehow. I thought they looked good.
So that's how you felt. I was nervous because I feel like this is kind of what seems to happen to over the years. But no, I think they're starting to win these games that I'm nervous they might not pull out. I know they were on the road. They should beat a rookie in Cam Ward and the Titans, and they did. So they won a game they should win. Yeah, and we move on.
God, took a lot of, just like you with I think it was Pittman. I took a lot of shit from people for the Herbert pick. It's terrible. You're in big trouble.
No, it's a good pick.
And I kept saying he's going to be a top 8 quarterback, and this guy is just a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, and he stayed healthy too, right? They've kept
and he's running the ball now.
Yeah, he's a great athlete.
Falcons find new and exciting ways to not win a football game.
Yeah, and like they played a team in the Patriots that are clearly on the rise, and they do find creative ways to lose, and they lose by 1. I can't figure out how they get blown out by 30 multiple times a season, and then either win or keep it close with good teams. They're I don't know. I like their coach, Morris, but like that's the only thing I can point to is it's got to be bad coaching. Like there's no way a team that has that kind of talent. There's a lot of complaining on the radio last week that Bijan wasn't in on key plays or hasn't been in on key plays. Right?
I'm glad you brought him up. I know he caught 8 passes yesterday, but from a rushing standpoint, it's almost time to put this guy in a milk carton because I don't know where he is. He had he had under 10 yards or 12 yards last week, only 46 this week. Could be time to put him on a milk carton, Jimmy.
Maybe. Like I said, they're pulling him in. They're pulling him at a lot of key moments, and that's sort of part of the issue. They're putting Tyler Algier in instead. Now, he only had 12 carries last week, which seems low, especially in a game that was close. How are you going to only hand him the ball 12 times? And to your point, he did catch the ball 8 times, but still, you got to hand the ball to him more often. They only rushed the ball 16 times in total. Like, yeah, they need to find another method, not having Michael Penix throw the ball almost 40 times.
I think the other thing to take away here is the Patriots are 7-2.
Yeah, Patriots.
It's going to be annoying. They have found their quarterback and they have found a head coach again. The Patriots are going to be annoying again for a long time, everybody.
Yep, they really are.
Niners over the Giants could have been the easiest bet of the week, as we both discussed. I mean, I don't know how that line was 2.5, but thank you, casinos, for putting it out there. Giants are just terrible. This was a bad, I don't take a step back here off, me thinking they're going to be a solid playoff team, and they already have 7 wins, so I think we can all agree they're getting in the playoffs. But I think this was just a bad spot for the Colts more than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, these games happen. It was just a blow-up game. Unless Daniel Jones comes out and throws another 3 picks next game, it's not a trend, right? It's just one bad game. It happens to a lot of really good players at some point during the year. So, nope, I wouldn't sweat it. I would chalk it up to just one down game. He still threw for 340 yards or something. But the Steelers just, I thought there was a chance they free fall after they lost to the Packers the week before and dropped to 4-3. They didn't. They pulled it out 5-3. I still think they're in prime position to win the division, although Baltimore has just a cupcake of a schedule.
Baltimore's going to win. It's unbelievable, but somehow Baltimore's going to win this division.
It really is. And they got Lamar all the rest he needed, didn't have to rush him back.
I know CJ's out with a concussion now, but my God, this Texans offense. I mean, how do you lose this game at home?
I know this was a baby. This is one of my Greg lessons. Bet this game based on the line. The line was to me screaming, "Take the Texans." Why would the Texans be favored against a better team. And it looked like for a while there we were really on the right side of that. And then CJ goes down with a concussion, and that's kind of where it stopped. Still had a chance. They went on a last minute field goal.
Well, they couldn't get in the end zone. That's the difference in the game. They kicked 5 fucking field goals.
Yeah, so that's what happens when Davis Mills is playing quarterback.
It's amazing how some of these guys are quarterbacks. I can't. I sit here and I look at it and I look at you and I'm going to make the statement and still not believe it's coming out of my mouth. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 5-3, and they could be the worst 5-3 team in the history of football. I said this a couple times last year about the Vikings, about how good they were, and they could be the worst at that record. This legit could be the worst 5-3 team we've ever seen, correct?
Yeah, they're absolutely terrible. But
the field goal kicker did knock one in from 68 that could have been good from 78.
I mean, they got that working for him, but Trevor Lawrence let's live in a world where we say he's a mediocre NFL quarterback. That still makes him one of the most overrated draft picks of all time, because he was supposed to be the best thing since Andrew Luck, right? The surefire, can't miss.
If I told you before this game Jacksonville was going to win, and I put whiteout over the quarterback box score, and I told you one quarterback went 23 for 34 for 220 and an interception, no scores, and one quarterback went 29 for 39 for 284 in 4 scores with an interception, which one would you think Lawrence would have been?
Yeah, 100%. Right. Yeah.
And unfortunately, it was Geno Smith.
Your tight end goes for 127 with 3 touchdowns.
Unbelievable. I just cannot believe this team is 5-4. Anyway, 5-3. Anyways, Rams. Sorry, Saints. We called this at the beginning of the year. At least you got one win. Could be the only one. This one we called too. This was my pick of the week. For some reason, and I don't know what it is, the Bills just have the Chiefs' number in the regular season. Can't beat them in the playoffs, but in the regular season, you can just circle Bills all day when it comes to this game.
Yeah, and they were all over Mahomes. They looked good. They won the game. I know everybody felt like it got a little dicey at the end, but it never felt dicey to me.
And we'll end with this, and I'll give you this one. I'm going to give Jimmy all the credit in the world, and I was dead wrong. Jimmy said in the beginning of the year he did not think the Commanders were going to have a good year, that somehow, some way, Daniels, whether it was production or injuries, wasn't going to have a great sophomore season. And you've been spot on so far. They got destroyed. And I think that's probably the end of the Commanders season, especially with Daniels now probably going to be out for extended time again. So basically a lost season for Daniels. Good call by you. Commanders are not a good football team as they fall to 3-6 and got absolutely pounded, by the way.
I take no pride in being right about this because I like them. So I don't feel I've said from the beginning I wish this one I was wrong about. They won't even replay the injury because his arm got dislocated so bad his elbow did. And then there was questions like, should you left him in the game? It was I think you leave your players and you let them play through adversity and get better. But I think that I think they overachieved last year as an entire team, not just Jaden Daniels, right? And they were going to come back to earth. I didn't think it was going to be this bad where they were 3-6. You're going to have Mariota going in. They might win. I don't know. I don't think they're going to win 7 games. Do you think they're going to go 4-4 over the next 8? I don't either. I think they're going to be a 6-win team, best case scenario, and maybe 5. So
I'm with you. All right. We'll wrap up with this. We'll be back Thursday night, as always, with Ryan. Fun show. But as we're doing that show, we'll be watching the Thursday night game. Broncos open 9.5 over the Raiders. Laying the points, taking the points, going with the total, or passing altogether.
Whew. Let's see here. What are we going to do with that? I'm going to say man, this is a tough one. If I was going to do it, I would do what you said. I would take the Raiders. Is it 8.5 right now?
It's 9.5 now.
9, yeah. I mean, gosh, if I might move it to 10.5 to get a better number on it, see what it costs, and then take the Raiders. Brock Bowers is back. Clearly, Geno Smith and Brock Bowers, understand how to connect. So I think they're going to be able to score.
Divisional game, short week.
Yeah.
Broncos haven't been putting up a ton of points. Raiders defense is terrible, but Broncos haven't been putting up a ton of points. Yeah, I lean to the taking the points here before I give them, just because the whole thing with the short week. And I'm going to go with Jimmy here. We're going to say let's take the Raiders and the points going into Thursday night, and we'll update it on X if we make a change before kickoff. But Jimmy, any final words to wrap up NFL Week 9 with one game to go, but the Sunday part of that?
Nope, I can't believe we're this far through the season. Things are taking shape, sort of how we expected. What are we doing with the game that's going to kick off here? And nobody's going to hear it in time, but it's going to kick off here shortly. What are we doing?
Well, we already have a play here, so
We
we
do.
need
We've got the over to finish off a parlay.
So we're gonna rock with the over, and if we have to take a side, I hate 3.5.
Concur. I concur. All right. Well, that's all I've got. We'll be back with a cocktail in hand Thursday night, ready to roll.
We sure will. Thanks for listening, everybody. Remember, follow us on X at whoyougot33, and you can send any comments, questions to Gmail, whoyougot33. Give us your questions, comments, anything you'd like to hear. If there's a game you want to take on, we will absolutely put that in the rotation. And remember, for your total players, it's never under till it's over.